Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. In today's episode, I feel like I need to roll out the virtual yellow carpet for our guest today. So we have the beautiful and incredible Dani Wallace, Dani fucking Wallace, the queen bee. And we're going to be talking a bit about how you, well, not a bit, a lot about using your voice to really scale your brand, to be seen and heard. And also, we're going to be diving into Dani's story and how she got started. So, Dani, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I've been really excited to chat with you today. I hope we're going to dig around in all the dead good stuff.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And I was trying to work out when I connected with you. I think it was like 2019.
Yep. It
Must
was
have been.
the year before lockdown. We
Yeah,
entered each other's worlds.
yes. And then I
Um,
was in the mastermind that you co-hosted.
yeah, with Nick's the Rockstar Level Up.
Brilliant.
Um, and that was such a journey in and of itself. And then to, you know what, it feels like a bit of a full circle moment to see everything that you've done since and the decisions that you've made and how you've really grown in everything that you do and how you help people now is just like the seeds of that were being sown back then, and you're just absolutely smashing it. So I'm very proud today. I'm very like kind of looking out at you, going, do you know what? You're killing it, girl.
Well, that means so much. Thank you for sharing. I just love watching your journey. Like you've had a huge transformation in so many different ways as well. Like you were already what I would call an absolute powerhouse when I first connected with you. But just seeing your journey and like you're building such an incredible movement. Like this is just so big. Like you're going global. You were in America
Really?
recently.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, even when we first connected, I knew where it was that I was going, even though I wasn't even then, like, wasn't there yet. So, yes, at the time I was doing really great work. But my due north has never wavered. I always knew it was always on sort of, if I look at my team's mission, value, purpose, the reason why we're here is to create the most inclusive, joyful business and personal development event in the world. And so we set about creating that here in the UK. And now we're the fastest growing. We're moving into an arena next year in just sort of 5 short years. And yeah, we just got back from LA. We just landed a big festoon over in LA, and we're already looking at the growth plan for there. So we'll oscillate the two events between each other. A big old one here in the UK and one in the US as well. So yeah, it's been a ride. It's been a roller coaster. There's been lots of highs and lots of lows. But because I know where I'm going, it makes it easier to move toward all the time, even when it feels slow.
Yeah, I love that. And for those who maybe are new to your world, like who even are those people, but there will be people listening who maybe have never even heard of Dani Wallace. So for those that don't know your full story, like where did this all start? Like how did you even get into this space?
It's a funny one, and when I say funny, it's quite tragic in some ways, and really joyful in other ways, as is many people's stories. But I grew up in a relatively poor area of Preston, and people like me and people like us from where I come from don't do things like this. Like, don't create events for thousands of people. Don't reach hundreds of thousands of people on the internet and sort of inspire them and perform and sing and turn up in blow up costumes and do all the daft things that I do. Um, People like us, the goal would be to get through high school, get through college, if you lucky if you went to university and did well there, get a job, and that'd be kind of it. And because I grew up the way that I grew up in terms of the the fabric of behaviors that was around me, so things like addiction, domestic abuse, poor financial literacy, so on and so forth, but an incredible work ethic. So everyone around me worked really, 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 really hard. And was often really resentful of that. And it was very interesting, to when I reflect on now on my work ethic and what I choose to do now, it's just interesting how I wanted to turn that on its head. So, like I say, growing up around addiction and domestic abuse and things like that, inherently, one of my trauma responses, as it turns out, was to entertain people. If I was talking or being funny or singing, performing, it meant people weren't arguing. It meant people were getting on. They were having to get on because they all had like a common thing to root for. So I do singing competitions and things like that from when I was very young. And essentially, when I was 16, ran away with a circus. And when I say ran away with a circus, what I mean is I went to go and work in different holiday camps and cruise ships around the world, singing and hosting and just really embracing performing, because I always thought as long as I was performing, I'd be all right. Although it wasn't really recognized as a proper job because I wasn't famous. You know, I grew up in a time where, you know, you only made it if you was on the X Factor. You only made it if you was, you know, on one of the reality TV shows, and Simon Cowell ordained you as the next big thing. And it was just never something that was for me, regardless of how many times I tried. So what I did was never considered a proper job because I wasn't famous. I wasn't, you know, a famous singer. And so I came back to the UK and got a proper job in learning and development. I swapped to stage for a stage. You know, my voice has been, even though it's a little bit scratchy today, my voice has really been the tool that has enabled me to do all the things that I've been able to do throughout my life. It's always been the thing that I've been able to lean into really positively. And so, you know, I became a trainer for some huge global brands. And I did that for about 15 years. But underneath, things personally weren't that great. So if anybody's sort of listening out there and has experienced this will know that the information that you get as a child and a teenager will often translate into the choices that you make when you get older. And so I had this really great work ethic and this real drive to you know, work hard and do well, and at the same time was really poor at making decisions about intimate partner relationships, friendships, things like that. And so I found myself where things had come full circle, and I was experiencing domestic abuse and had 2 kids under the age of 3 at the time, and became homeless off of the back of exiting that situation. And I swore that if ever I was to make it out of that alive, for whatever reason, I'd spend the rest of my life in service and creating safe spaces to have conversations that matter. And doing that through finding fun and bringing joy, as opposed to sitting in trauma and victimhood and what have you, like looking for the light and being the light, as opposed to surrounding myself, which was very easy to do at the time, you know, surrounding myself in the darkness that I was experiencing. And so I started performing again, came out of corporate, started to build an audience inadvertently by putting my makeup on, getting ready for gigs on live stream on Facebook.
In your car?
In my car. And I still do car lives now every now and then when I kind of like, when I want to feel safe. And that created a community that then created this incredible career and business that I have now, and the event that is the Big Festoon, which is really centered in safety, inclusion, success, and all the good things.
I love that. Looking back on your early speaking days, like before you even started your own business, did you even have it in your head that you wanted to create this movement, or did it kind of like evolve?
I knew that I wanted to be of service in some way, shape, or form. There was still a lot of healing that I needed to do in terms of that, because lots of survivors serve. I remember being 13 years old, and my sister and I are very, very close. She's incredible. Would sit up in my sister's bedroom, and the adults would be arguing downstairs, and we would turn the TV up so that we didn't have to listen to them. And I remember having the conversation with my sister at the time, we were 13, 14, that one day in some way we will either join forces and help people, be that in the realms of domestic abuse, or be that in the realms of, you know, helping people not feel like this, whatever this is that we're feeling isolated, we're feeling alone, we're at the behest of the world around us, and we don't really kind of get a say in it. Like one day we will do something. And we didn't know what that was. We were 13 and 14 at the time. I wanted to be a singer. My sister wants to be a funeral director. But as things have really come full circle, what we've done, both of us, through this inherent want to help people, is for me created this, you know, this beautiful event. And my sister's actually become a CEO of domestic abuse services, you know, in the town that we live in, services that I accessed when I needed them. And off of the back of the community that I've created, we also have the Fly Anyway Foundation, and the Fly Anyway Foundation helps people who've experienced domestic abuse to build businesses, because I found that I was really unemployable because I was so traumatized by the situations that I'd experienced both as a child and as I got older. So, had I always wanted to kind of do this, I'd always wanted to impact people positively. And I knew that I was able to do that in some way by commanding a room. I'd always been a naturally good conduit for people, a naturally good introducer for people, a naturally good hostess. And that just kind of grew as I got older. And the more I got sort of self aware about it, the more I was able to add layers and layers onto that and be really intentional. And I wish I had that intention early doors. So I kind of saw it. If I look back at a vision board that I created about 15 years ago, you know, it's very much on there. The house that I'm living in, the fact that I've got this shed that I'm speaking to you from today, the fact that, you know, we get to do podcasts, that we hold events. Did it look like this? No, but I got intentional the more I moved towards it, I guess.
Yeah, and it just evolves, doesn't it? As you
Yeah,
like, you realize what you're capable of, and then there's just, oh, what else can I do? I can make this go bigger.
absolutely. I saw a quote the other day, and it made me laugh because it really, like, I felt it. Like, you've got to be just the right amount of like stardust and what the fuck,
Yeah,
like just the right amount of logic and allowance for magic. So I think that what I've got right over the years is this. Yes, these are the logical steps. I need to learn what I need to learn in order to do what I need to do. I share this really often, the show up, wise up, rise up cycle of it's like really stepping into your success. And the rise up bit is the choosing of the destination. So for me, it's always been the event. It's always been the community. You know, when I do Facebook posts and I speak to my Facebook, the people that follow me on Facebook, they are my community. And I always say this, it was always you. It was always you guys that I was doing this for because I found a home in that community.
yeah.
I found somewhere safe to be. Um, can't remember what I was saying then, but yeah. Oh, the right. So the logic is the wising up, right? You need to learn what you need to learn in order to create that rising up situation. And then you need to show up for it. And for me, success is an equation now. I know how to make it happen. We've got to set the sat nav. That's the rising up bit. And if there's either a showing up gap, you're not showing up for it, and you're not being honest with yourself about it, or you need to learn something. Now, Jackie, you know me. I'd show up to the opening of an envelope. Showing up was never my problem. I just didn't know what I needed to do. And as I've got older, I've surrounded myself with brilliant mentors, people to learn from, books to read, events to go to that have taught me the things that I need to know.
Yeah.
So, like that as a recipe for success is the thing that is my mantra. Like show up, wise up, rise up. Where do I need to go today? Do I need to learn something? No, all right. How do I need to show up? Who do I need to show up for? Where do I need to show up? And that applies to most areas of life now.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that you have created, like, I always refer to you as being like an absolute queen of inclusive, can't even say the word. You know what I'm trying to say.
I absolutely do.
The the space that you've created is literally given a platform for those that feel like they haven't been able to be seen and heard, a space where they can just be vulnerable, where they can really share their story and their journey. But I guess because you have had sort of trauma in your past and your background, you can
Yeah.
probably relate to, or people can relate to you in terms of their own traumas.
Yeah.
And to have that kind of space where they can really feel part of something, really feel part of a community. But speaking might be something, I know that's obviously what you help with, to have that confidence to be seen and heard, but speaking kind of just feels like it would be such like the polar opposite end of the spectrum of where those people might be feeling, where they maybe don't have the confidence, where they've just become like a shell
Yeah.
of who they are. So what is it that you do with your clients or with your audience to get them from this point of not even knowing where to start to being on stages? Because that's what you do. That is the transformation you help with people.
Yeah, it certainly is. And it's certainly one of the transformations. I want to be really like clear. It's the work that I do is about using like trauma as a vehicle for speaking. It's what annoyed me as I moved in the business circles, you know, and like I say, I was working for some huge global brands. You know, if you're in America, Best Buy, you'll recognize Jaguar Land Rover. Pretty much everybody listening to this will recognize big government contracts. What I noticed was how straight and white and male the situation was. And as somebody who is straight presenting but queer, tattooed from her neck to her toes, pretty quirky in terms of how sweary I am, but wildly intelligent and articulate, it really annoyed me that mediocre people were getting the microphone, and there is a richness of society that actually need to share their lived experiences so that we can have a richer experience as a global community. And it was that kind of seed, when that seed was sown, I was like, right, well, what can I do? Because the work that I do isn't about being like a wide lady savior. It's about recognizing that sharing our shared experiences and sharing our individual lived experiences actually helps us form stronger foundations to build our successes from. So, if we think back generations and generations and generations, the way that we passed information to each other was through storytelling. It's an inane part of our makeup is to share things. Parents share things with children to, keep them safe and informed and fed and all of that sort of stuff as a basic. If we think about when people used to live in packs and tribes, they would share information between each other with regards to, how fertile the land was, for example, or whether there was lots of sort of game or prey or, things to hunt, and, they'd create boundaries and all of that sort of stuff between through communication. And if you're only hearing one type of communication out in the world, and it remains in sort of broader areas, very, I mean, there's small inroads made, but not the inroads I would like. I wanted to create something so big and so varied in terms of the type of people that would attend. It would mean that we become really strong as a community. The things that I share on stage are through my lens. And so it's not the same lens as, say, a Black non-binary person. And there is so much to just, even if they're not talking about their Black non-binariness, they're talking about financial education, they're still sharing some of their lived experience and some of their lens and view on that. And I just think it's important. I think it's really important. I think it's really nearsighted if we all walk around kind of talking to the mirror. And if we look at our circle and we look at the communities that we're in, and if they all look the same, sound the same, feel the same, love the same, then, we're not going to get the richness or fullness of life. Yeah. So even though it sounds quite deep, it's because it is. We've become so divided and so in silos. I just wanted to create somewhere where we could share freely and openly and honestly and with grateful intention and joyful curiosity, and not waiting to wrong somebody or waiting to point out if somebody was wrong. So what I do now is help people from lots of different backgrounds, cultures, races, sexualities, genders, so on and so forth. The list is endless. Help them take up space audaciously in a way that lots of us haven't been encouraged. If we start right at the beginning and just look at the binary gender divide that there is out there, as soon as we start to focus on that, we start to see the other types of divides that are out there. Yeah. So my work started in feminism and holding women's spaces, and then realizing that feminism was much more broad and actually includes everybody and creates equity for everybody. And that's where the work started. So it's not really like, I work with traumatized people and help them speak about what they do. It's helping people who wouldn't normally see themselves on stage, see themselves on stage. So we always have a ramp to the stage. So wheelchair users and mobility aid users can see themselves on stage. We try as best we can to have a diverse lineup so other different types of people can see themselves on stage. Not just the white lady with the tattoos, we've got to be loud like Dani in order to do it. So what we do is help people become more themselves so that they can audaciously take up space. And they should. It's their birthright.
Yeah. I did an episode on this exact thing, and it's about stepping into your next level version of yourself as the most confident, aligned leader, basically, and how it's not actually becoming someone else. It's about stripping back those layers and getting back to who you are.
Be
and
more
I think
you.
so many people is they might think to themselves, but my story just isn't big enough. I don't have anything to say. I've just had a very mediocre life. And actually I think that was probably me. And now here I am.
I remember having those conversations with you years ago. And what you're doing now is is the opposite of I've not got a story. You're a conduit for the people's stories as well. It's important.
Yeah. Yeah. So what would you say to somebody that literally right now is just saying, I don't have anything to share? Like my life's pretty boring and normal and average. Like, because I personally think that everybody has an incredible story to share. They maybe just haven't tapped
Yeah.
into it.
Absolutely. And one of the misconceptions is because you've lived your life and it's what you're used to, you think that that's it's boring to you because it's your everyday. It's not to somebody else because it isn't their everyday. So there's that like what is usual to you more often than not isn't usual. Like if I think what was usual to me, and this is a sweeping statement that in my family there were no good men, not one. There were no good men. And so when I meet somebody who's got lots of incredible, great men in their family, they think they've had a boring life. I'm like, I want to know about that.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. Like, tell me about that's a dream situation for me. Where are the good men? Tell me about them. Like, I want to invite them to my space. Like, and then that person's like, oh no, it's really boring. I've not really experienced any inherent trauma. Brilliant. I'm thrilled. And also, the other thing is that just because you might not have experienced any significant trauma does not mean you don't have a story, and also doesn't mean you don't care about something. So one of my clients was working with me pretty early doors and went, well, I don't really have like a sob story. I want a sob story. You don't need a sob story. You just need to care about something enough to speak about it. So I know for you, in terms of brand and energetics and identity, you, Jackie, are so passionate about that. You're so like, when I see the work that you do with your clients and how they carry themselves in the world differently, you care about that. That's the story. Why do you care about that? Because it isn't the this, and this happened to me and now I care about this thing. It could be, I saw this, and this happening out in the world and I thought it was a travesty if I didn't help people do it. I didn't help people fix it or solve it or create space to facilitate conversations around it. And so when people are going, oh, I can't really talk, so I don't really have that much of a story. Stop being so selfish. Like, stop thinking it's all about you as well, because it's not. Like me being a speaker, and I know you've been to my events and we know each other well. The work that I do isn't about me. I'm like the last person it's about, even though I'm the pink at my own pink concert at my events. That's just for entertainment's sake. It's not actually about me.
Yeah.
It's about bringing people together. It's about helping. It's about giving people the microphone. Here, speak, tell your truth, share your value, build your business. And so for the people that sat out there going, I haven't got a story, you have. If you care about something, you've got a story because there's a reason why you care about that thing. And if you care about that thing, that's the thing that you really should be speaking on, not just my story, because actually nobody cares. Like this happened, this happened, this happened, then this happened, then this happened. No one's asked about that. They will care when you share what you care about, and that's where our common connections are.
Yeah. And it doesn't even have to be about your business and what you do, does it? It can
Nope.
literally just be something that's happened in your life, something that you feel really passionate about. And I
Yeah.
think that's another thing that people get in their head is, well,
Yeah.
I don't know what to talk about with
Could
my
be otters. It could be. I love otters. Like, do you know what? They're not a pervasive species. They're otters. They've got really cool things. I don't know why I'm talking about otters, by the way. I'm just going for something really left field. But they do really cool things like hold hands when they're like at
on their
sea
back.
to
Yeah.
stop them drifting apart. And somebody might be really passionate about otters not becoming extinct and speak about otters. It has nothing to do with you, just the fact that you care about them. So, it doesn't have to be about your business. It could just be, it could be climate change. It could be it could be any number. It could be any number of things. It could be creativity. It could be, you might like drawing and art. What are the things that you care about and you're passionate about? It doesn't just have to be your business.
Yeah.
Taking up space and speaking about the things that you care about, that's really powerful. Whether it's building your business, sharing something that you've overcome, or otters.
I feel like there's going to be an otter outfit at one of your events now.
I feel like just to honor this conversation, there needs to be.
um, just to take this and to a slightly different direction, but you have built or you are building such an incredible legacy. You've got your books, you've got your movement, like you're just creating such an incredible thing in the online and offline space. You're doing all of this as well as being a mum. Like how do you manage to do that?
I don't. No. um,
They're all
so
fending for themselves.
it's like the Hunger Games in this house. It absolutely is. Um, it's it's been a battle. It's been a struggle. There's been a lot of compromise. And even now, as a single mum for the second time, my husband and I, or my ex-husband and I, although we get on really, really well, we've come to the point where we know that we get on better when we're not living together. And so being back in sort of single parenthood again, um, means that there are compromises to be made all around. And I'm not just a parent either. So I'm a carer for my dad. My dad has got an acquired brain injury. There's lots happening out in the family that needs my attention and support. And so it is busy. What I have done though is because I've created what I've created, my family can see how big this is getting and how important this work is, and are so supportive of it. And one of the first things that I was able to do when I started to get a little bit of success, Jackie, was retire my mum. It was one of the proudest moments of my life. I was able to say to my mum, what's it going to take for you to be able to stop working? And she went, I just need my salary matched till I draw my pension. And I was like, right, okay, fine. Well, let's do that. But what that freed my mum up to do was care for her husband who's really sick, but also help me with things like the school run. I would not have been able to do this at this speed on my own. And whenever anybody says, "Oh, Dani, you've done really well," it's never me, it's always we. Like, my team are amazing. We're small but perfectly formed. We're only a team of 5. And for an event production company as big as ours, that's really unheard of. And it's a real testament to the people that I have in place that are around me, the family that I have, the friends that I have. And so when I make the compromises, and I have to, because for everybody that goes out there, oh, you can make all this money and you can do it really easy. Like, it's rubbish. It's an untruth. I don't go out there talking about money because my margins are like this. Like, I don't go out there and say, oh, we're a 7-figure business, because it's pointless earning 7 figures if you're spending 7 figures, right? And so when it comes to being a parent, I have regrets in the last 10 years over the time that I could have spent. But it has allowed my kids to see what it takes to build the life that they want. We didn't have any legacy wealth as a family. There was nothing that came to me. Everything we've done from the ground up. We've done and we've grafted for. And at what cost? The kids know what it is that I'm doing and are really supportive. And now I can expose them to this incredible thing that we've created, and they get it now. And Ivy knows no different. She's 9. And Eli has access, my eldest has access to a very rich and vibrant, set of friends that include members of the trans community, as trans himself, that help him. So the cost is balanced, I think.
Yeah.
Have there been times that I've missed? Yeah, I missed my daughter's sports day last week and I was heartbroken. But we secured enough clients over that period of time so that I could take them on holiday this year and actually spend some time with them, just us and them, with the phones down. So it's been a juggle. It's been really difficult. And if anybody out there tells you that it's easy, they're fucking lying.
Yeah. It's not easy. But what I love about you, Dani, is like, you are such a what you see is what you get kind of person. Like, I know if I go to an event and Dani Wallace is there, you're going to come over and give me a hug. Like, there's not this, I've made this thing, I've built this legacy, I've
Oh,
created.
we're too famous now, darling.
Yeah, you can stand over there.
Yeah, can you imagine if
I
that
know.
ever happens, right? If that ever happens, someone pull the plug on the whole thing. Like, I'm doing it to connect with people. I'm not doing it to distance myself from anybody. Like, I built this community for
Yeah,
me to lean into, for me to have friends,
yeah,
because I wasn't choosing the right kind of friends. So I just became a lighthouse for the creatives and for the strangers and for for the
yeah.
quirky ones and for the different people, for the weirdos. Like, in the craft, we are the weirdos, mister. Like, but in a really beautiful way. Like, imagine if I started to be. I'm too big for this now. I couldn't possibly. I have to manage my energy for sure. But damn right, you're getting a cuddle when I see you.
I just think it's so lovely. And I think you even shared something last week where you have your weekly team call with your
Yeah.
team, and you're always just saying, like, you're so proud of them and everything. I just think
Yeah.
how beautiful, like that really is. Like your community, your team, your family, like it's all family to you.
Yeah.
That's
It
just
is. It is. And even when we have to have tough conversations, so it's not just, yeah, it's a love fest all the time. Things get really difficult. Like things, there has to be difficult conversations that happen. But what we do, because we are so intrinsically aligned with our values, and our values are kindness is our superpower. We all do well when we all do well. We find the fun and bring the joy. We're joyfully curious and enthusiastically inclusive. We do what we say we're going to do. And every decision that we make is against those set of values. We don't deviate, not for 1 second. So it means that when the going gets tough, we can always check back in. That it's part of our beating heart. Kindness is our superpower. Can I have a conversation with you that's difficult and still it be kind? Yeah, absolutely. Can we hold each other accountable and that still be kind? Yes, absolutely. And I think that's why I'm so proud is that the team and the community absolutely get it. They absolutely get it. And the ones that don't learn really quick or they fuck off because they're not for us. So
yeah.
fine.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the whole point in building your brand, isn't it? It's about repelling those that aren't the right fit and bringing
Yeah.
those that are.
And that's okay. There
Yeah.
are people who I'm not for and it's all right. And there are people who you're not for and that's all right. And I think that one of the biggest learns when you first start out, right, is that, well, I just want people to work with me. Who do you work with? Anyone that'll pay me. And then you realize that not all good money is good money.
Yeah.
That sometimes someone will pay you and they'll pay you what you would think is a brilliant amount of money, and you resent every single penny and every single minute that you have to spend with that person because they're not doing what you want them to do or what they need to do in order to do it. You're not a values match. They might be like covert racist, like no thanks, off you pop, like you get take your money off you pop, like so to 8 billion people in the world, there are 8 billion people. Do I want to work with 8 billion people? No, I'd be very tired. And I don't like everybody, but as long I figure, just as long as you're not in our bed, we're all right.
For anyone that is listening to this who
Mhm.
wants to start speaking or sharing their story more, like what would be the very first thing that they could do in order to do that?
So the very, very first thing. So I'm gonna share two things actually, if that's all right. So
Yeah.
the very first thing is if you want to speak, you need to ask yourself two questions. One is what do you want the audience to think, feel, and do differently once you've shut up? So it's you can make them feel good in the moment, which is fine. You can like give them aha moments in the moment, but actually, what's the change that you want to create for them once you've stopped talking? And the other is how do you want this to serve you? Because some people want to share their story and they're actually using their audience as therapy, and that's incorrect. Like, please don't ever do that. We really need to consider the value that we give to the audience. But then also, when it comes to speaking, what do we want from it? Do we want to build our social media, our email list? Do we want to score clients from that situation? Do we want to have people sign a petition, for example, if if you're doing something that's sort of activisty, but so what do you want the audience to think, feel, and do differently once you stop talking? And two, how do you want it to serve you? And the two are okay. They're not mutually exclusive. You are allowed, you're taking up space to move people toward you. Okay. So as a speaker, your job is pilot to get as many people on your plane as possible and to land it in the destination of your choosing. What's that destination? And so that's the first thing. And the second thing is really get clear on how you introduce yourself, because you only have seconds to make an impression with somebody. So if you think about the rate at which we come across people now, especially on social media and at events, and it's very kind of smash and grab, we aren't afforded a slow burn to get to know somebody. So we've got to be very clear, very quick. So what I've found is that people will often over-validate themselves when they're introducing themselves instead of getting there real quick. So I always share right at the beginning of all of my speaking journeys, whether you are an established speaker or whether you are a brand new starter just sort of dipping your toe in, is I talk about the vocal business card. And it's a really simple 4-step process and something that will naturally evolve over time as well. So it goes, I am Dani Wallace, or Dani fucking Wallace, and I am a celebrity public speaking coach and an event producer. of the fastest growing business and personal development event here in the UK, the Big
Whoop, whoop.
Festoon. So, but I'm a public speaking coach and I'm an event producer. It's very clear what I do. I'm not kind of over egging it or anything. It's really simple. And because a mistake that I find people make is they try to be too flowery with that language right at the start. And uncertainty doesn't sell. If you're not absolutely certain, people aren't going to move towards you. You know, if you think about a pilot on a plane and they're a little bit wishy-washy over their energy and how they're saying things to you, it's not going to instill a lot of confidence in how they're going to land that plane. So we want that kind of cleanness of sort of job title. So you could be I'm the founder of the Big Festoon, the founder of the Fly Anyway Foundation. So I am and and essentially your job title. I help and who you help. So as you know, Jackie, I help particularly business owners and entrepreneurs. Oh, who says it like that? Business owners and entrepreneurs, particularly those from marginalised genders and backgrounds, take up space using their superpower hidden in plain sight, their voice. That's what I do. And then the so that, and that's the magic on the other side. And the so that often gets a little bit skewed. You will share with them the outcome that you know that they get and not the outcome that they want. So when you're introducing themselves, I'll always say, for me, people, when they work with me, get more impact, influence, and income. If you come to one of my events, you will learn how to have more impact, influence, and income. Learn to speak with me, you will have more impact, influence, and income. If you've got a business and you're thinking, what do we want? We want to reach more people. We want to influence them to buying from us so that we make more money. Like, that's okay. So that's the consistent message that I share. I could wax lyrical about how differently people carry themselves in the world once they've worked with me, about all the press and PR that they get if they decide to, once they utilise the message that they've constructed with me. The fact they go on to create TEDx's or, score tens of thousands of pounds in speaking gigs and corporate jobs. Yeah, I could speak about all those things, but we've got to keep it succinct. So I am, and your name and your surname, because there could be other Jackies in the room, there could be other Dannys in the room. So I am Dani Wallace. You are Jackie Laws, right? So first name, your surname, and give us your job title. Who do you help to help that person identify themselves? And just everybody doesn't count. I help everyone. No, you don't. Like I don't. I don't want to help everybody. Told you this. Hey, but you'd be very tired if you helped everyone. So who do you help? And then what's the so that? What's the outcome on the other side of working with you? And try to think about the things that your ideal clients Google when they're looking for you, as opposed to what you actually deliver.
Yeah. And
So
sometimes
yeah,
we can get so like in our own heads, can't we? Or rely on GPT and think, well, that's what we do, but actually that's not what people want.
It's not what they're looking for.
Yeah.
And once you kind of get past that initial conversation, yeah, you can explore all the things that they actually get. But yeah, we got to get there quicker with that introduction. So if you're starting to speak, get there quicker with that introduction.
Amazing. What is next for the Queen Bee movement?
Very exciting things. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're very open about the things that we're sharing. I try not to keep them a secret until I'm allowed to share them. So there's some things, we've got some NDA stuff happening in the background with regards to working on a film and a documentary.
Oh.
We actually released our documentary last year, so that's going to have a revamp and a refresh. But our next big thing, so we've got our big event in October, which is Halloween, 30th and 31st of October 2025, the Big Festoon. That's our final trot out at Bolton Stadium before we head on into the AO Arena in Manchester on the 11th and 12th of March. It's going to be our biggest event yet. We're looking between 2,500 to 5,000 people at that event. And I just want as many people to come and get involved with the movement as possible and come to the event and come and get involved and just see how joyful business can be. There's loads of value, loads of connection and loads of experiences that you can draw from in that room. It's like being plugged in as a mobile phone with a depleted battery and you just kind of go out into the world feeling recharged, refreshed and just ready to take on that next level. So yeah, for what's next for us is just to grow that event to be as big and as badass and as beautiful as we know it to be, and hopefully have an entrance that involves a zip wire.
Oh my God, dressed as an otter. Can you imagine?
Can you imagine? And nobody would put it past me.
I've planted that seed now.
I'm
Um,
going to be Googling otter costumes
oh
when we're off
God,
this
I can just
podcast.
imagine it. If you could leave the listeners or the watchers, for those watching on YouTube, with one message about their voice and their power, what would that be?
It's the most important thing that you have. It's the most important thing that you have. And there are enough tools and things to consume out there that can help you start doing that straight away. Just being in Jackie's world is one of those tools that you can, there's just this podcast alone. Following me at the Queen Bee Dani. I'll share with you top tips, tricks, being in my free community, the Hive. We do a boot camp there to help you share your voice. It's the most important commodity that you have, whether it's spoken, whether it's written, whether it's just how you turn up in the world. Your birthright is to take up space for the time that you're here. And that can be in a really audacious way, or it could be just in a way that feels really right and really aligned for you. So it's not for everyone to speak on these big stages. Like, I get that. But to take up space in a way that helps you feel peace, contentment, and joy, that's your birthright, and your voice is absolutely the tool that you can use to help there. If it all happens in here, it doesn't always happen out there. When you speak things into existence, it is magical.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much, Dani. I have loved this episode. Do check out all of Dani's links in the show notes below, where you can find out where to find her, follow her online. There's also the links to her incredible books as well, which I have copies of and are amazing. So definitely grab those. And yeah, hopefully there'll be lots of you that are listening to this. It'll be at the big festoon.
I hope so. Jackie, thank you so much for having me. It's been a joy.
Oh, thank you so much, Dani. Take care, guys, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.